Hello guys! In this video I will teach you how to create guidelines for this fantastic shape that I call the never-ending spiral. There are various tutorials on how to create such a template, so I decided to simplify it for you. And you can use this template for a swoosh design. You can put dots, some floral design in these lines, or just color it. It's all up to you. And before we start, I will ask you to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. So let's get to work. I'll use white paper so you can see better. And you need a ruler, a compass, protractor, and a pencil as tools. I'll use one graphite and one red to make it easier for you to draw the lines, and so you don't get lost during the process. Place the ruler in the middle of the surface you're working on and draw a straight line. This line will help us in the next step of creation, so its length does not play a big role, just a random line. But make sure it's straight and that it goes right from the center. For this particular pattern, I will use only one size, which is 3 centimeters. So since I'm switching to using a compass, I will measure 3 centimeters. You can use a larger scale if you wish, of course. Place the compass 3 centimeters away from the center of your surface and draw the first circle. And in the next step, I will draw another circle with a red pencil so that the sides of both circles will meet in the very center of your surface. Hope this is not complicated to you. I place the compass again 3 centimeters away from the center of the surface and make another circle. The sides touch at the very heart of the surface you are creating on, as you can see. In the next step, I will use a protractor to divide each circle into 36 parts. You can do it into smaller parts, of course, but it's important that there is an even number of dividers. And since my protractor is of a larger diameter, I will have to use a ruler a little later in order to precisely draw the dividers on each circle. And now with a ruler, I will evenly divide the circle into 36 parts with the help of the dividers that I created with the protractor. I'm doing the same process on the second circle, and I'll speed it up here so I don't waste your time. Now I use the same measure of the compass of 3 centimeters, and from each of these 36 points I will draw one circle so that I will practically get a geometric shape called a torus. Place the compass in each of these 36 points and create 36 circles in a row. I will repeat the same process with the red circle so that we will practically get two toruses that intertwine, and although it will seem complicated at first glance, it's actually very simple and you can't go wrong. In the second part of the video, you will see how the magic of this spiral design is simply created. And that is why I use one graphite and one red pencil so that you can see it better and comprehend it better. So we got two intertwined toruses, and they are literally our guide for creating this shape, the never-ending spiral. I made mine in a recognizable style with a swoosh, and as I mentioned earlier, you can fill in this pattern as you wish. I will use a freehand drawing because it's easier and less burdensome, so to say, and after all, it's only a guide, and you can also use a protractor to make your lines more regular, but there's no need for that really. You will see in a minute. And this perfection can also be achieved with a freehand, so you will see how the magic reveals right now. I start from the very top of the intersection between graphite and red. The starting point is on this intersection, and I make this pattern by counting the cubes, so to say, 2 cubes per pattern, then leave one blank, 2 per pattern, then leave next blank. So watch carefully. I start to draw a line following the red guide to the first sharp curve, more precisely to the edge of the torus, and I also do it from the bottom side in the size of 2 cubes. I will shadow this pattern so that you can see what we have done. You can do 3 cubes and then leave one blank, 2 cubes and leave 2 cubes blank. It's all up to you, but you will figure this out as soon as you see how this all goes. So I repeat the process. The starting point is at the intersection of 2 toruses. 2 cubes are the measure, and I draw a line following the red guide to the edge of the torus, and I do the same on the bottom side, and I will repeat this process until I reach the center of the graphite torus. I'm going to speed up the process until that point, because when we get to that point, to the center of the graphite torus, the direction of drawing the line changes, and you should see how we're actually getting that never-ending shape of our spiral. So I will speed it up here. Now that we have reached the center of the graphite torus, the drawing direction is slowly changing, but it's very important to me that you see that transition. So follow my steps carefully in the next few moments of your creation. Our starting point is in the center of the graphite torus, and from there we follow the graphite guide to the intersection with the red torus. Observe carefully. Let's draw a line from the center of the graphite torus to the first sharp edge of the red torus. Two cubes are actually a way not to get lost in the process, and you can always be guided by them if you think you're lost in the process, which I doubt, because it cannot be simpler than this, and it is a sacred geometry after all. We continue in the same direction from the center of the graphite torus to the sharp edge of the red one until the red torus is no longer available to us. And then we continue to draw lines to the first sharp edge of the graphite torus. I took a break in the recording and shaded the previous part of the process so you can see what we achieved. To fill in this shape in swoosh style, practice sheets will be available on my Ko-fi site, which you can print off on any type of paper and practice. And I also have to mention now, and with my voice in this video, because I didn't announce it before, free copies of my swoosh and dot art practice sheets have been misused, and I have taken measures against the perpetrators, and recently they are available at a decent price on my Ko-fi site. You can also support me there by leaving a tip if you want, and the link will be in the pinned comment and in the description of the video, or you can click on the link in the bio. I have to say I'm really sorry because I had to put a price on my practice sheets, but when somebody is doing what some people actually did, it's not fair because I put a lot of effort into those practice sheets, and if I'm giving them for free, it doesn't mean that you can just resell them somewhere else and take advantage of that. A little more shading and we're done. On my Instagram profile you can also see how I create this in swoosh spiral in time lapse, and I would like you to write me your impressions in the comments and send your works in DM so that I can publish them in my story on Instagram. I hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the some of the following videos I'm preparing for you. Thank you.